right, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much. I know I'm the person standing behind, between lunch and this discussion that we have. Uh, I think the world is going through massive disruption today and across different forces. And this is bringing a lot of change in the lifestyle, permanent shifts, behavior, and everything. And amongst all these changes, what I see as a bright picture is India is kind of coming out as a shining star. And the reason why I say so is all the parameters that we look for India are really kind of showing it in terms of setting up an agenda for the global economy. And when I see all these things, there are factors that influence consumer behavior. And a lot of marketers in this room have had last 2 busy months of Diwali and the Cricket World Cup. And it's time to really reflect back on saying, what are the changes that are happening in consumer behavior, and how do we go about it? The few things that one needs to reflect is in terms of concerns that a normal consumer would have across different parts of the world. So GfK does a research, a global research, which looks at the mood of the consumers. And it also gives you a perspective of what things are important. So globally, when we look at the developed markets and other things, the concerns that comes out are around, oh, do I have a job? Is a recession going to hit me? How do I take care of my bills and things around that? Whereas if you look at Indian consumers, I think the consumers are, the concerns are a little different. They are around the lifestyle-oriented stuff, whether it's about pollution, it's about education, and many other things. I think this itself gives an optimism to all of us, saying the concerns in India are more about improving lifestyle versus rest of the world, which is really talking about how do we take care of our daily needs. As we look at the consumer confidence, this is where a big difference comes up in a developing world and the matured world. The developing economies, including India, are quite optimistic about how the next 12 months would look like. And I think this is a point of hope and very important for all the marketeers to see how things will change. And therefore, what is really needed for them to go after that specific customer. There's been a lot of debate and discussions around Gen Z and how to target and things like that. But really understanding where the money lies, because still the spending power is for the customers who are not really Gen Z, but they're millennials and baby boomers. So there are different external forces which actually define how a consumer habits will shape up. And when we look at these things, of course, these are all external forces that the strongest being then is a technology disruption. Technology is actually has a far deeper impact and far long-lasting impact. And I want to pause here and kind of have a show of hands. I know people are talking to each other. If I can have a show of hands saying, how many of you actually, when you wake up, the first thing that you do is look at your mobile phone and check your phones? Yeah, I think all of us. How many of you would have placed an order on Blinkit or a quick service report? Yeah. Yes. And of course, needless to ask, how many of you would have placed an order on Zomato or Swiggy in last 1 week? Yeah. Now, if I were to ask the same question 5 years back, probably I would not have been even asking this question because some of those things did not exist at that time. But I think this is what a change happens. And the biggest driver of this change is technology. And I'm going to share some of these aspects of what is really important for a consumer and how you can target to them. So there are 6 elements which are really important, right, starting from safety, going up to the whole, the ecosystem, the whole thing about climate and things around this. Now, we had a discussion about saying, digital discussions are happening a decade back, and now today it is live. Yes, that is happening, but it has also created a lot of fear on cyber attacks, data protection, and many other things. So this concern is very much there in consumers' mind, and therefore all the brands are really working hard to ensure that they build this trust in the consumer's mind to take care of this specific need. If I also look at what do they need, today we are living in a very hybrid, omni-channel environment where things are quite fluid also. What people need is, in these complexities, do not overcomplicate. Give me simple. You give me a simple thing, I'll take it. I think that's one of the aspect. And the consumer is also looking at, recommendations that's for me. We had a good discussion around personalization, but I think this is also saying, okay, do not treat me like one cohort, personalize things for me, kind of curate stuff for me. We all face it. The consumers are quite demanding, you miss out on something and then they can kind of drop you at a heartbeat. So I think this consumer understanding and these changes that I'm talking about, because these are all impacted by the fast-paced technology, other external forces that we are seeing around. We discussed about Instagram, YouTube, and many other things. It is all about need to connect, and there are 3 levels of connections. One is about the people I know, my friends, families, and all, where I want to connect. The second, the bigger theme is around this whole community, because I stand for a cause, I have my voice, and I'm part of that generation. And therefore, today, this whole community plays a very important role. And health and well-being, this is mind, body, soul. I think these are the 3 things that are really important for consumers. And therefore, the brands who brings out products and services which are really catering to these stand strong and stand apart. I think this big whole revolution around save the planet is not really a slogan, but I think this is a reality. And you will start seeing these things becoming quite important when consumers make their choices for the brands, products, services, and for the brands who actually bring this as part of their offering and their engagement. So, these things will be critical. A lot of brands have started bringing out these elements so that they can go to that specific touch point for a consumer. And on top of it, the consumer in the making, who will have much more spending power in time to come, is Gen Z. And, they are born digital, so they know better technology than all of us. It's just about, they are in a very different state. They are very educated. They want to do a lot of research. They like when people ask them, give them a lot of information. So I think this is one area where brands are taking advantage of intelligently engaging with the customers. And then it's all me and me. I think there were different things that people shared their anecdotal examples about how the Gen Z is behaving. I think it's very much things about me, their own individual self. They want to also pamper themselves a lot. So anything which is important, which can make them happy, is something they go after. And more important, I think this is the biggest change, is they value experiences than possessions. So a lot of goods, products, they have to also convey an experience which is more important than only the feature utility. They value time more than money in cases. And so therefore, what does it really mean? We have looked at these first concerns of Indian consumers. Then we looked at what things are really important for the consumer, which actually helps them in deciding to go after brands and products. And now is what a brand should be doing. And very simple. I think in time of uncertainty, consumers go after the brands who display or who kind of engage with them with these elements. So I think the more hard work is with the fast-paced changing technology, the marketeers have to be constantly upgrading their engagement game and giving them the trust on different levels and the touch points that I spoke about in the past. While price is one of the deciding factor, but even today, your brand and product is so critical that people really decide between one versus other is still the brand and the product. So, I hear saying, you bring a product and you'll be successful. That's not the case. Those are only commodities. So I think brand trust, good feature, value proposition are something which consumers are looking at, and this is one of the way to engage better with them. And what does it mean for the people in the room and the marketing leaders? So we spoke to a lot of CMOs across the world, and I think one of the thing is, first, almost 70% plus of them said that they have seen growth in last 3 years. Almost 80% of them said that they are expecting good growth in next 3 years. So I think there's a lot of optimism. We looked at India as a market where all the external parameters are showing that India is going to be a growth leader. The marketeers believe that India is going to be a growth story. And even globally, even I think those are positive sentiments. Consumer expectations are clearly laid out. And more importantly, the biggest question is, how do I get that extra dollar for marketing? I think that's a struggle with most of the CMOs in the room. And the CMOs who said that they have confidence that they will grow in next 3 years, they find it quite easy to get investments, to invest back into the business. So I think the question is all about how do you really get that optimism, decode the customer, and go after them. And what are the next priorities for CMOs in the year to come? I think 2 big boxes. One is, of course, the media optimization and say, okay, how do you really divide your budgets accordingly? But the second bit is, how do you really bring data culture and really maximize the potential of data sitting within the organization or outside the organization? So these are a couple of things which are on the top priority list, and there are a lot of work that is happening around in the analytics space. And we spoke about this whole AI thing coming into play, because I think the core of AI is data. I think it rides on the data. It can give you great results if the data is good. It can give you really bad results if you don't have the good data. So I think this whole discussion about AI, today that we are having it's not a new discussion. It's been decades that AI has been into the world. Today we call it traditional AI, and the next version is generative AI. But I think these two things are kind of existing in this. And I'm not going to discuss about the personalized experience, because I think that has been discussed at length. With digital disruptions and so much of free flow of data available everywhere, one of the clear differentiator and control mechanism would be data privacy, because I think the customers are also becoming quite cognizant about how the data can be misused, frauds can be done, and things like that. So the data privacy would be very important. And with so much of green planet and everything coming in, this ethical consumerism is a way to go forward, where all marketers will actually bring this as a part of their agenda in communication and everything around. So I'll quickly sum this up. There are 3 things one can look at is ROI. And R is for resonate. The resonate is about, are you really resonating well with your customers? Do they get you? Are you able to get the message clearly? Optimization is it's less and less is more. Therefore, you need to see with less how much you could do. And I is all about innovation. So I think in time to come, we'll have a lot of discussions around how innovations are going to come up into place. And I see a very bright future for Indian marketeers and India market. And I think India will play a very defining role in this whole technology, as well as being the largest consumer base as well. So thank you very much. Have a great day.